Facebook's going to block me. Hello, everyone. This is Nicole Whitlock with the eCom Seller Summit. And we are live with the eCom Seller Summit private label and white label panel discussion. So our panelists for tonight are myself, Miss Anika Grandison, Miss Ashley Kincaid, and then Kristen Ostrander may join us. But I wanted to give everybody the opportunity. First, if you haven't registered, go register for the summit. Second, so you can go to www.ecomsellersummit.com to register. There are some amazing speakers that spoke today. Ashley was one of them, so you definitely want to check out her session. She was on today's panel. And then we also have, there's so many more that you can go back and listen to. So you have until after midnight to be able to go and listen to any of the speaker sessions and the recordings and catch any of the, sessions. Don't forget that you can grab the All Access Pass. The All Access Pass is going to give you the opportunity to gain access to all of the amazing speaker bonuses. So definitely grab the All Access Pass. So with that being said, what I want to do is I'll yield the floor. We want you to type your questions. I think we are live on my page. I think we are live on the fan page. Facebook is being very, very fickle. They've been fickle for about a week and a half now. So if we are not live everywhere that I think we are, I apologize for that. But we're either live on the Facebook fan page, we may be live on my personal page, and live in the Facebook group. So if you have private label questions, we definitely want to be able to answer them. We want to be able to allow our amazing panelists to be able to share their insight, their thoughts, and their feelings about different things that have to do with private label and white label. I also want to say, just as a side note, just to kind of cut the tension, because it's been a very crazy day. Today, for those who don't know, is Tuesday. Like, this is February 22nd of 2022, which is really funny. So it's a Tuesday. It's all twos. That means it's also Taco Tuesday, and it's also Margarita Day, National Margarita Day. So I say, everybody that's watching, you guys should just all go get margaritas, eat tacos, and talk to us about your private label questions. That's how I feel about it. But in any case, what we want to do is type your questions in the chat, whatever questions you have that are private label related or white label related. And while we are waiting for you to type your questions, I'm going to yield the floor to these lovely, amazing female business owners and let them tell you, like, there's private label and there's white label, and I'll let them talk about what is the difference between the two, or what they perceive the difference between the two to be. And then we'll come around with the next set of questions. So whichever one of you wants to go ahead and start first with what is private label and what is white label and the difference between the two.
I can jump in. How's it going, everybody? Hey, welcome to our panel. Really excited to talk a little bit about private label. It's my passion. I've launched a lot of private label products on Amazon. So differences between private labeling and white labeling. Essentially, private label is having your own brand, your own product. There's a lot of different ways that you can private label and white label, but white label is taking another company's products, putting your own spin on it. But private label, in my definition, is essentially creating something that you own, creating your own asset. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the private label cat, if you will. But to me, if you really want to have longevity in your business, create an asset that you can sell, white labeling and private labeling is really the way to go in 2022. But so many different ways to make money with e-commerce. So I'm excited to be here and answer any questions you guys have about white labeling and private labeling.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Ms. Anika, do you want to add or either elaborate on a little bit more of that?
Yeah, I think she hit the nail on the head. There's so many different ways to do white label, private label, especially in 2022. I do want to talk about maybe a little bit later on how you transform your business product from white label into from private label into white label. So that's actually what I did to grow my business. So we could touch on that a little bit later on. I don't want to jump the horse because I know you want to get through the definition first.
Okay. Now I know when I first started in the business, private label was definitely more extensive than it is today, meaning you actually had this whole schematic and you had, you're designing something, you're going through all of the process of the trademarks and all that fun stuff. You're literally working with the manufacturer, you got molds for different things, you're ordering a certain supply. And so I remember, that early journey of understanding or at least taking a deeper dive. Whereas these days they've made it a little easier to do a little more, do private label. And so it's kind of evolved a little over the years. But that is my initial introduction to private label versus white label. Again, putting your name and brand and logo on a specific product that already exists in the universe. So all right. So if anybody has any questions, again, I'm checking all the Facebook groups. So you can type your questions anywhere in the Facebook groups. It looks like we're still live. I hope we stay live because, again, Facebook's being fickle today. So then the next thing is if you were to, when you first started with your private label, let's just start with that. When you first started with your private label, what was one of your biggest challenges and that you were able to overcome? But what was your first, your biggest challenge that you were able to overcome?
I think my first challenge was just the fear that my product would work. You don't know when you do private labeling, typically you're taking a bit more of an initial risk to get your product up on Amazon. And I came from a retail arbitrage, book sourcing, arbitrage wholesale model where I was very used to just buying one unit of a product or 2 units of a product. And if it would sell, that would be great. If it didn't sell, that was okay too. So private labeling was a little scary for me to start with a larger quantity of items. So for me, I just really felt a lot of uncertainty about making sure that I selected the right product. I know a lot of you watching are probably feeling the same way. You don't want to go too deep on a product. So for me, my first private label product was actually a set of bath bombs. Back in 2016, I was kind of one of the earliest launchers of bath bomb products on Amazon. Back when bath bombs were kind of a niche category on Amazon and private label, now there's thousands of sets of bath bombs. But I kind of found a specialty, a sub-niche in that category. So that was my very first private label product on Amazon. It's still a great private label product idea. But for me, what I did is I just really have perfected a method of testing in smaller quantities. So it makes private label a lot more accessible. One of the beauties of selling on Amazon is you don't necessarily need like 1,000 units of a private label product to get started. I think that's kind of a misconception that you need to start with, 500 units of your first order, 5,000 units of your first order to test it and get reviews on Amazon. So for me, just the fear of launching and feeling like I might be a failure and that my product wouldn't sell. So that was my first fear when I got started.
Okay. All right. And Miss Anika, what about you?
My fear was actually similar to Ashley. One of the fear that I had was actually finding a supplier that had a smaller requirement, minimum requirement. That was some of the issues that I went into. Also, the issue that I went into is being able to find somebody locally to supply the product versus internationally. And the shipping cost was so much. Like the item could be, for example, $2 for you to rebrand and create it, internationally. But then with the shipping cost, I'd wait $20. So that was one of the issues that I ran into is having the money to get the inventory and the inventory quantity. So that's something that I perfected now over the years. Before I go out and just buy products, I have a launch strategy. I have a way of testing out the products before I buy bulk. I have a strategy of getting pre-orders to overcome that fear of getting 500 products on hand and then they don't sell out. So I started doing more sales strategies before buying products.
Okay. All right. I love that. Well, I have the same challenge as all of you. But again, when I first got into private label, it was a little ways back. And of course, it was more extensive. But in any case, there were different things that I didn't have available because I was actually working directly with the manufacturer. And you have to have at that point, I had to have all the molds. I had to have all the dimensions. I had to have all the stuff trademarked. I had to it was just a bunch of liability stuff that I had to do. Like we were creating something from scratch and then trying to get them to produce the product and trying to make sure that product, like after we had already we knew which market and who our audience was, after we had already begun the process of creating the product, like getting it back, sending it back to them. No, it's got these issues, getting it back again, and just back and forth. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go broke with this process. So that was my biggest fear was I'm not going to have any money by the time this is over because we are going back and forth with everything that's part of that process of doing something 100% from scratch. So in any case, so guys, if you all, ladies and gents, if wherever you are watching us from, you can type your questions in the chat. We are happy to answer them. You have questions about private label, you have things you want to comment on your private label or white label journey, things that you have done, and then we can go from there. So I will let the two of you have the floor. I do have other questions I can ask, but if you have some insight, I do want to plug Ashley's session again today. Ashley was live today. So if you have a chance, go check out her session. It was a great session. It was on private label. It's still available. You have until after midnight to watch it. So I yield the floor to you ladies while we wait for questions, and then I'll come back and ask questions again.
Sure. Well, I just really love encouraging women to get into this space and become private label sellers. It's such a fun way to get into e-commerce. And if you're creative, if you're someone who likes to come up with new ideas, if you're someone who's a little bit of a innovator, private label is a lot of fun. I love just personally looking on Amazon and coming up with new ideas of new products to sell, because there's always ways as an entrepreneur to find ways to differentiate those products. And for me, that's really the opportunity for me when I look at private label. I look at not just an opportunity to sell the same thing as other sellers, but really to make the product slightly different. That's why I talked about in my session today, how I look at a product and I find ways to slightly differentiate that product with my private label, to slightly improve it, to just make it a little bit different than what's already on Amazon. And you can find those unique opportunities to white label and to private label. So for anyone watching, I think that's such a smart strategy in 2022, just to, it can be as simple as, instead of a product being plastic, making it metal. Instead of it being 6 ounces, making it 12 ounces. Bundling or multi-packing, creating variety sets. There's a lot of really creative ways to private label these days. It's just, that's the opportunity, is finding that opportunity to make your product a little better or a little different than what's already out there.
I love what Ashley just said, because when I'm launching products, one of the things I do is study the market and I see what's out there. And before I relaunch that product, I make it my own. I look to see what is that product, what problems that product solving, right? And how can I make it different? What is that company doing wrong? And I just give an example. When we launch our Yoni Steam products, majority of the companies out there that are doing Yoni Steam, they're steaming with plastic, right? So when I launched my Yoni Steam packages, of course, I went the opposite route. It does cost more, but overall, health-wise, it was better to launch with like stainless steel or wood. So you get the toxic, you don't want to steam with toxic, right? So when we launched, we had a success that way. So I love the way Ashley said that when she's created new products, she figure out what is on the market, what could she do the opposite of, make it better, and then put it out there for the audience. And I do the same thing. You see what happened? We all think alike. Success have clues, guys. Success have clues. Follow the clues. When you're launching products, do some research first. Do not just follow the trend because it's popular. You want to make money. Take time to actually think about your products before you put it out there. So I love that.
I absolutely love that as well. So I love doing bundling. That's my thing. That's my jam. That's where I live all the time. And I do love testing products before creating my own private label bundles. So bundles are always the thing that I'm like going after. We're actually working on a subscription box bundle right now that we're going to hopefully be launching shortly after the summit is over. And so I'm excited about that, and just doing the research for the products and trying to figure out what are those final products going to be in that bundle? Are we going to have variations of it and things like that? And what is it that the market needs right now based on who we're trying to serve? So, okay. So I am checking all the Facebook groups. I will say this. we are still live. I'm not going. I'm surprised. I'm telling you, they took down our video from yesterday, which I'm still confused about that. But because I'm like, there was nothing in there. We talked about retail arbitrage. In any case, I will let you guys go on, continue going. I'm double checking the rooms real
Oh
quick.
yeah, I was
See if
gonna
there's any questions.
jump in if you wanted me to,
Go
Nicole,
ahead.
just to
Go
say,
ahead.
some ways that you can make your product unique. And from my perspective is, maybe you could upgrade your ingredients. Look at the other companies, see what ingredients they're using. That you could probably, recreate the product, reinvent the product, and use better quality ingredients. Because people are going to ask you, what make your product so different? I see Suzanne is selling the same product, you're selling the same product. What's going to make your product unique? So one of the things you could use is actually increasing the quality of the ingredients that you're using in your product. That could really help you when you're reinventing products coming out there. And then you could also add another problem that the product solves. So if it's good for one thing, you can make the product into like a multi-use product. They may be used just for one skin feature, right? Then your product could do like 3 or 4 different skin features. So now that's literally like an upsell with your products. I just want to get some strategies out there. How can you reinvent different products, make them better?
Absolutely. I love that. Absolutely love that. Okay. Go ahead, Miss
If you guys
Ashley.
have any questions, bring them to us. We'd love to help you.
Absolutely. So, and the email went out, so I didn't know if we were going to be live. In any case, I'm glad we're still here. So I will
do
say
have a
that.
question for Ashley, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Go ahead. Love it.
Listen, I love the fact that you're on Amazon and you're just doing amazing thing on Amazon. I do have my Shopify store, and even though plugged into Amazon, I didn't quite get on Amazon yet. I'm like a little scared, right? Because Amazon is a different beast. So what is something that you tell the audience and me who wants to get at Amazon? What are some things that we could do to get on Amazon and avoid some pitfalls? Like basic things we could avoid pitfalls.
Sure. Well, it's pretty simple to become an Amazon seller. The setup process just takes a couple weeks. Anyone can be an Amazon seller as long as you have a bank account and follow the rules of being an Amazon seller. So actually, the setup process is pretty simple. Typically, just takes a week or two. The most important thing I always tell new Amazon sellers, Anika, is follow the rules. Your Amazon account is worth millions of dollars. It's made me millions of dollars over the years, and I just hate when I see people lose out on their business just because they don't read the rules of Amazon. You don't want to lose that chance. So really simple. Just make sure you do everything Amazon asks you to do and read over the rules when you start to sell. Some things are pretty risky on Amazon, selling defective items or items that you're not supposed to be sending to FBA. So just do your due diligence and make sure that you've read a bit into the process and taken the time to be a good Amazon seller. There's just a lot of opportunity to make money on the platform. But it's so important just to make sure you have quality products. You want to keep your defect rate really low as an Amazon seller. I used to struggle with my defect rate when I was an arbitrage seller. That was one reason I wanted to move to private label, because I was selling a lot of used shoes and used books and things like that on Amazon, which I still do. But I struggled to just have a quality product and maintain my customer happiness on the platform. So I would say, Anika, just taking your time, reading just a little bit into the rules of selling on Amazon, and just get your feet wet. Just jump in. It's not scary. It's a big world out there, and I don't know anything about Shopify, so you'll teach me a little bit on the Shopify side of things.
Well, I opened the Amazon account. I just didn't put any products on it yet, so I'm a little nervous about that.
I think you're going to do fine. And what I did want to, if you're done, Ashley, I was going to add a little bit to what you were saying. So for those people that are moving from Shop, because I sell on both platforms, I have a Shopify store and I also sell on Amazon. But you want to make sure, the one thing about Amazon, it's got all these categories you got to deal with. And so whatever it is your private label product is, you want to double check that as part of your starting journey. What I mean by that is sometimes, depending on what category you're wanting to sell in, Amazon may make you jump through a couple of extra hoops, or you may have to go through what's called an approval process. If you're able to sell in that category where your product is actually going to go into, because they have a lot of categories. They got categories and subcategories, and the subcategories got subcategories sometimes. So you got to keep all of that in mind. But when you do confirm whether or not you can or cannot sell in that category, the other thing is if you have a private label, you want to actually go ahead and try to get brand registered if you can. If you've already got your trademark and everything, if you don't have a trademark, you don't have to necessarily have that. But if you do get brand registered, you're going to get some additional features on your Amazon sales page. You'll be able to do Amazon Lives. You'll be able to have your page will be more marketing related. So you'll have big, pretty graphics. You can put videos on there. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you'll be able to do if you have your own private label product. So going down the route of getting brand registered was going to help you with that. All they'll need to know is your that you do have a trademark, and then they'll need that information so that you can get approved for a brand registry. It'll also simplify that whole process of being concerned about which categories you are approved to sell in or not approved to sell in. So those are the things, like before, if I'm moving from Shopify and I got a private label products, I want to make sure what category would my products go in on Amazon, and then what is required in that category. Am I required to get approval or not get approval? Do I have a trademark? Or if I don't have a trademark, if I've got a brand, do I need to go ahead and at least establish my brand on Amazon? If you don't have to have a trademark in order to have the brand on there. You can do brand registry, or you can have just a brand, one or the other. And so what are the processes? There are two different roads that you go down for brand registry versus the brand. But reading all of those requirements and making sure where you feel like you're going to fit in. Once you get on the platform, you get approved, then the next thing is just getting through the process of creating your first listing. Because I will tell you, creating listings on Amazon is nothing like creating listings on your Shopify store. You got a whole bunch of panels. You got at least 10 panels you're going to go through to be able to create that the first time. And I will tell you, it is sometimes a nightmare. But if you get brand registry, you can get what's called a GTIN exemption. That means you don't have to have a UPC for your specific private label product if it is one of those products that doesn't require UPC, or that you've got it branded so you don't have a UPC, because Amazon's going to want a UPC for every product that's on their platform. So those are just some additional tips to keep in mind. Would you add anything else to that, Miss Ashley?
Absolutely. That's a really, really good tips, Nicole. Making sure your product's correctly categorized is important. You want to make sure that, again, you're checking your product quality. For me, that was my biggest pitfall, just making sure I had a product that is what it says it is listed correctly, is in the correct category, correct ASIN, all those things. So it's a little bit to learn, different world than Shopify, for sure.
Definitely. And if you're doing something different with shipping, you need to make a note about that as well. If you're shipping it directly, again, you can control your own shipping times and processing times. But if somebody else is shipping it, you need to find out what is their window of processing. And if it is something like, oh, that warehouse takes 10 days to handle or process something, you need to be aware of that, because Amazon's going to have some guidelines and they may not be happy with your processing times if they're ridiculous. So keep that in mind as well.
That was great. I actually took some notes down and I'm just doing the research. I already have the store open. I'm just doing a research process of which product I want to start out with. I don't really have like a niche. It's going to be like trendy items, whether it's like electronics or gadgets, different things like that. So I'm still in the phase. I may launch with one product on Amazon and just see how that goes. Because, as an entrepreneur, I've made this mistake before in the past where I'll just get out there, I want this product, and spend so much money, thousands of dollars, then you're stuck with inventory. So that's just something to take away from that. I do appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, I got inventory in my storage unit right now that I'm like, and it's probably 4 years old, and I'm like, okay, we just sell a little bit at a time, because I made that mistake when I first started. I made that mistake. It's like, okay, I have too much inventory. Oh man,
you're not alone.
All right, so I am checking for questions. I have my phone, guys. So if you have any questions, ask your questions. I am grateful, Facebook, if you're listening, that we're still alive. And what I want to do now is, we are going into 2022. We're at the early stages of 2022. What are a couple of products that you feel like people should maybe take a deeper dive into, or consider, hey, this may be you can just name one. You don't have to name a bunch. But, what are one product, two products that you feel like it's 2022? What is something that people should look into as far as potential private label products?
There's a couple things. One thing I really like looking at kind of the uncool categories on Amazon. Everybody wants to sell the cool private label products on Amazon that you hear about on the podcast and the webinars, which is okay. But for us, we like to really dig into the niche subcategories of a category. Not everyone's into like business and industrial and scientific. We've had a lot of private label products in that category. Everyone seems to kind of migrate to pets, kitchen, beauty products, which are great. I would really just encourage you guys to look at maybe the lesser known categories or the categories that other people wouldn't be interested in. Also, work from home and education from home is still such a great category right now with the pandemic still continuing and so many people still working at home or their kids are at home. Anything that can support people working at home as this COVID continues to allow people to stay home. People are shopping and searching for things on Amazon that will make their lives easier. So I always recommend too, like look for a product that can solve a problem for people. People generally go on Amazon to solve a problem. My house is dirty. My kitchen faucet's broken. What can you sell that would fix a quick problem? Because that's typically how people search on Amazon is how can I fix something? This is broken. Think about a product that can just solve a problem for people. That's really, to me, the foundation of what private labeling is. So that would be my suggestion this year, is just to continue to think about those trends. I love to go on Amazon's hot sellers list and look for ideas every day. The wish list, brand new products that are being launched on Amazon. There's just a lot of gold that you can just look at directly on the Amazon website for private label ideas. So
I concur. There's a lot of gold. Go ahead.
For me, I would say take a look at products in the health and wellness space. People are in the age right now where they just want to get healthy. They're finding ways to stay alive and live longer. People don't want to age, right? So look at products in the health and wellness space. If you're in that space, just my opinion, I feel like you will always have a client. Right now, we're in the season where people are starting to get ready. Like we always say, summer bodies are made in winter. Right. So this is when they start getting pumped up and excited about getting fit, getting in shape. So look at wellness products. Look at wellness products. They definitely help. And it's a wide range of products that you could do in health and wellness. It's not just like the capsule, the pills. There's so much different things you could do in health and wellness. So look at those particular products. And then there's a website that you could use. I'll give you guys a gem. Okay. So when you go back and listen to the replay, you guys will have a gem in there. So it's actually called Spy Research. It literally tells you what are the hottest selling products, how much they cost, who's buying it. So take a look at that website to figure out. That can help with your product research. And Google Analytics too will help you with your product research.
All right. Yes, I agree. And Google Trends will too. So you can gain access to Google Trends as well. One of the things that I would recommend, since we're going, further into 2022, I like to stay in front of the upcoming things. So we got Mother's Day and Easter and all of the, graduation and summer activities. And so I go through the seasonal trends and also the holiday related trends around that line, in addition to movies. But I noticed over the last couple of years, especially with COVID, people are becoming more aware of what products they buy, what they're made of, and or how they're made or what they're made of, so that way you want to take care of the earth. They want to, things like that. When you were talking about taking their health, so there's an increased awareness about that. And I think that trend is going to continue to be a thing, that they're going to be more concerned and more conscious about what their products are made of, whether or not it's biodegradable, whether or not it's made of recycled, whatever it is, and that they can use it and feel safe, or something that's going to improve the health of their home. Like one of the things that I saw was, and somebody came out with an air purifier that had filters that had bamboo or something like that, made of bamboo. Again, something that's biodegradable, something that is natural, things like that. So just looking at things that are going to help.
Are you saying more eco-friendly products, Nicole?
Eco-friendly, just eco-friendly, but not just that. It's a combination of just eco-friendly and also products that help the environment, but also help their health. So when I say improve their health, There was another one that someone just recently came out with, some kind of sensory that they could, sample, take a blood sample and be able to determine whether or not. I think I saw the commercial during the Super Bowl. I had to think about what it was. Where you do a blood sample, be able to tell whether or not you're COVID positive real quickly, and it's tied directly to something that's very similar to Alexa. Like, oh, okay, it tells you, it literally talks to you and tells you whether or not you're positive. And so things like that. Or there was another one where someone came out with a modified version of, I call them watches, but they're not watches. They're like your health meter. So it's telling you your heart rate, how you're sleeping at night. Okay, so we've already got those with Apple Watches and all that other stuff. But somebody came out with a new version that actually had some more enhanced features in it. So again, just things that either are going to improve your life, your health, eco-friendly, all of that, a combination of different things that are going to just, help you live longer, which is what you were talking about. I think that space is going to continue to grow. So if you are in that space and you want to take the combination of what Ashley said and what Anika said and go figure out, okay, well, how can I make mine different? Do I make mine with this material versus this material? Do I add this ingredient, not this ingredient? All of that stuff. How was my thing made? All of that. I think that's going to be a great opportunity.
And definitely finding those opportunities. I like that you mentioned the holidays. We love holidays. We just had Valentine's Day, which was great. We had an amazing Valentine's Day on Amazon. Holidays are so great for private label sellers. So I like how you mentioned, Nicole, really thinking about like down the line, not a couple of weeks from now, but 3 to 6 or 9 to 12 months. We're already thinking about Q4. How are you going to predict what those holidays could look like for your private label product? How can you make a gift bundle? How can you start to think about those keywords, putting them in your pay-per-click campaign? We always run lots of pay-per-click campaigns for my private label products with holiday keywords. So for Valentine's Day, it was gifts, women, romance, those kinds of things. So thinking about the holidays, looking for those opportunities to find suppliers you maybe wouldn't necessarily consider a good supplier. My very first supplier I found for my first private label, I actually found on Etsy, not on Alibaba, not on eBay. I went on Etsy and found a supplier who made my first private label product, basically manufactured it for me, labeled it for me in a very small quantity. So think about how you can maybe do things a little differently with finding a supplier. That's a really good tip as well. And you don't necessarily have to do it the same way as other sellers. You obviously want to do your homework, but there's just so many ways to, whether it's trade shows, calling on the phone, going to local events, going to local conferences. I like to just Google private label trade shows, wholesale trade shows, even not a private label trade show, just to go and meet different ways to meet vendors and suppliers who could create your product for you. So that's a tip as well.
Great. Anything else you want to add to that, Miss Anika? And thank you for the eco-friendly.
I was just taking that note because I love what you said about going back to the traditional way of growing your business, not just online, getting out there and getting on the ground, do guerrilla marketing. So I took that note down about the trademark private label trademark events. I took that down. But no, there's nothing else I'd like to add to that. I think everything she said was on point. Everything you said was on point. I mean, the last thing I'll say, though, if you're looking for products, electronics, I know we touched on it, but electronics that actually have multi-use, not just one use, but multi-use. I've seen this product, it blew up. When I tell you blow up, it blew up. What it does is literally charge your phone, charge your watch, everything in one. People looking for how to on a budget, right? So they buy one product, but they can use it 5 ways. So that was an amazing product. So you can actually go look that up. Another product that's really booming right now, that's doing very well. If you just think about you want to make some extra money, I'll put some products on Amazon. The product was a selfie stick. But what I love about the selfie stick is that it was motion. So if I'm moving, the camera's moving, it's captured me. I don't have to try to hold it and fall down. And we're in that stage now where everyone is almost a content creator. So that was a really dope product that did very well. It literally moves when you move. And the costs and the profit margin is amazing. So that's something that you guys could take a look at.
Oh, it's
called a 360 camera.
Okay. All right. I was going to also add to what Ashley said. So when I was talking about my subscription box that we're working on, I actually went to the Frisco Farmers Market this past weekend. because of course it was warm. I don't know what's going on with Texas. We're just fickle because we literally just had 80-degree weather and we're going down to 20 tonight or tomorrow. It's just ridiculous. We're literally doing this. But in any case, I went to the farmers market with my kids because me and my business partner are trying to curate our products that we want to put inside of our subscription box and trying to find local suppliers that we can have a long-term relationship with. So yes, going out to those types of things, going out to trade shows, but also reaching out to your local farmers market, going out to your local, like we had Third Trade Mondays, which they closed and then now they reopened it. It's another place where it's like it's not really a swap meet, but sort of like a swap meet where you can find different products that either people have made or that they've created or that they're just selling, they've got a large quantity of it. So I use that as part of my, hey, let's put this thing together or figure out how they can take what product they're making and you can make modifications to it so you can put it as part of your product bundle. So
that's a good idea, Nicole. What about vendor events? We actually found one of our manufacturer at a vendor event.
yeah.
She makes skincare products, but I don't have time to make the product. But I asked her, can she customize it with my formula?
Yes. Yeah.
And she's actually saying, yeah, I could do it for you. Absolutely. You just got to pay the fee. But vendor events do very well too.
Absolutely. We went to the 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I have to think pre-COVID. 3 years ago, Pinterest had their, I forget what they call their Pinterest event, but anyway, where you have all these people who make things and we're in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And so I went to that event and actually got a bunch of contacts for making soap and candles and taking it and making it the way that I needed to be made for me to be able to sell it myself. So yes, doing those connections. So I know that because we feel like the COVID numbers are going down, there's going to be a bunch of trade shows that are coming out. There's going to be a bunch of opportunities for you guys to go to expos and things like that. You can also go to the white label expos coming up. Like there's a bunch of things that are happening. So if you get an opportunity and you feel like you want to travel, mask or no mask, then you should try to connect to some of those and see what you'll be able to find, what products are available. There's also, like I know here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, like we have an area that's called, Harry Hines. It's like the warehouse district. And then we also have the Dallas Market Center where we have a bunch of different vendors that are there as well. And so you could go to whatever you have locally in your area, or if you have a big city that you can drive to, definitely go and see when they're hosting events, check out when their calendars are, or maybe you can drive in for a day, get a bunch of ideas, because maybe you don't want to necessarily sell that specific product. Maybe that's a distributor and you just want to get the contact or get the idea of the product. Sometimes I will literally just go to the events just so I can get an idea for the size of the product. So then that way I can figure out what I'm going to do long term for my shipping. So I know what size box I'm going to ship it in. I can kind of estimate, okay, if I buy this, if I'm able to find somebody that can make this for me or do this for me, and then this will be this amount that I would spend for shipping. So here's my total cost that I'm into it for, and here's my potential profit. So I like to put my hands on products, and going to events is one of the ways to do that. And also doing retail arbitrage, but because I'll go make a bundle in the store first before I'll go to a private label and, go make my own. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, ladies.
No, I was gonna. Go ahead.
That's a great tip too, Nicole. Bundling at home, and tell me more about that. So you actually bundle it at home before actually making it into your private label?
Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
what I teach in my bundles course is that I go out to the store, because the one thing about making bundles, depending on what you're making and what size it is and all the contents that are in it, you could have a bundle that by the time you're done with it, it's like ginormous. And so the shipping is going to eat into it. And so the logistics of trying to put together that bundle, or whether or not you're going to send it into Amazon, are you going to ship it yourself? Just trying to figure out all the pieces to that. I'm like, okay, this is going to be too big of a bundle. So what makes the most sense? Should I ship it myself? Should somebody else ship it? I also check to see, okay, can I find somebody that sells this? So I'll give you an example. In the winter, my class that I did, we were talking about one of the bundles we talked about had house slippers in it, and it had like all the kind of pedicure care kind of stuff. So you've got the pumice stone and little clippers, and you got the file, and you've got, everything that's in the little footies to get the calluses off your feet, like all the stuff that goes into a nice, awesome pedicure kit. So when I make bundles like that, I think not just winter Christmas. I think Valentine's Day. I think Mother's Day. I kind of try to, like how long will this bundle have a life in the universe? So in order to figure that out, I got to go put together pieces that are either going to be the same size or going to be comparable in size, so I can figure out how am I going to get this thing shipped. What would the shipping look like if I'm going to do it myself? What would the shipping look like if I'm going to reach out to somebody? What kind of packaging do I need to order packaging? How big does the packaging need to be with my brand on it or whatever? So I have to conceptualize what this is. So I use retail arbitrage to go out and put together my whole idea, the concept. I may get different variations of it, whatever. Okay, what if I do fluffy slippers? If I don't do fluffy slippers, what if I just do, kind of figure out, okay, fluffy slippers are going to take this much more packaging. So I kind of literally dissect the whole process and then figure out, okay, this is where I'm going. I sample it, put up some listings, see which one is the one that people are really liking. And then long-term, bigger picture, depending on how I did for Q4, this is the bundle I'm going with long-term for next year. And I start putting together, let's find the suppliers, let's get the so-and-so, who's got this, who's got that, put together all the pieces. And now I've got my bundle. I already know what my estimated shipping is going to be. I already know what my packaging options are going to be. I already know all of that. So that's how I kind of conceptualize the whole process.
That's a great idea. I'm excited for that. That's a good one.
Yeah. So that's how I.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So, and I think it gives you an opportunity to test it like real time, because we know so I'm just going to be honest. When you go into the store, when you go into Walmart during Christmas time, that is the number one time where you see bundles everywhere. They're in the store. So I literally look at all the bundles that are being sold. There's no other time of the year other than Mother's Day where you see that number of bundles for different gift opportunities. And so I literally take thousands of pictures on my phone. I probably have over 300 to 400 pictures where I literally kind of figure out what am I going to do for a bundle in the future. I take all the pictures. I walk into Walmart, take all the pictures of the bundles I see in health and beauty. I take them over in, women's, men's, wherever I am, because they'll have men's kits. They don't have the men's kits out all the time. They only got them out for Father's Day, and they got them out for Christmas. Women's kits, they don't have them out all year round. They only have them out certain times of the year. So I get all of those ideas and I kind of say, okay, now I have a laundry list of potential private label product opportunities throughout the year and or for later on, so I can be ready for Christmas next year.
That was a gem of gold. That was everything. If you're brand new in business and you're worried about spending money and wasting, Nicole literally just showed you how to go around, pick up the products you're thinking about and putting them together and see if it makes sense for you to actually fully launch and buy it in bulk. I love that.
Yeah. So test real time. Go ahead, Ashley.
It looks like we have a question in the chat from Tash Lynn.
All right. Okay.
I can take this one.
Go for it.
Tashlyn, Tashlyn asks, how do you research the price point and profit for your private label product? Do you just look at similar products, or are there good tools you recommend to use to determine if it would be profitable? So definitely you have to be price competitive on Amazon, Tashlyn. Now the beauty of private label is you don't have to necessarily undercut or sell at the exact same price as the other sellers. So yes, I do. When I'm searching for my private label product, Tashlyn, I definitely look at the first page of Amazon. For example, if I'm going to private label a charcuterie board, I'll just go on Amazon.com, search charcuterie board, and get a sense of the average selling price of that product. For me, Tashlyn, I like to keep my price point around at least $25 on Amazon. Now my business partner Anthony's around $28 average selling price for his private label products. It really just depends. But yes, we just look at similar products. There are so many tools, and I'm sure my co-host will elaborate. There are so many software tools for Amazon sellers. We just use a good old-fashioned spreadsheet. We like Helium 10 too. It don't work for Helium 10, but it's a really good product research tool. So there's so many tools out there, but you can simply start, Tashlyn, with just looking at Amazon and what the prices are for the products that you're interested in. But for me, for a newbie, we try to recommend that you look at a little bit more expensive, over $20 products. I'm sure that our co-hosts have different products of price points, but there are many tools. But essentially, it's a lot easier to make a profit, Tashlyn, when you have a higher priced product because there are Amazon fees for private labeling and storing and shipping in your product. So try to stay a little bit more expensive would be my tip. That's
Yeah, for me, it'd be a little bit different because I do private label on my own platform, which is Shopify website. So it'd be a little bit different. But some of the things that I do is I do research. I see what my competitors are selling the product for. I see what their quality is. I always try if I want to upsell them and charge more, I will make sure that my product is better quality than their product, right? So I can justify why I'm charging a little bit higher than my competitors. So for me, it's going to be a little bit different because then, when you're driving traffic to your website, it's literally just your platform. It's just literally your product. So I don't have to compete with thousands and thousands of people like Amazon. If everybody's selling, for example, a phone case, there's like 50 different phone cases, right? But if you're sending them back to your website and they just see that it's one phone case that you're selling, nine times out of 10 they may possibly buy at the price that you do have set on your platform. So I just look at what other sellers are selling the product for. I do my research. Then I also do a value pricing method. And then sometimes it depends. I may multiply by 3. That's just a rule of thumb. At least want to mark up your products 3 times what you pay for it. But just like Ashley said, on Amazon, you may not have that wiggle room. That's why you got to really do your research and not buy a product that costs too much if you know that you're not going to be able to sell it on that particular platform. So that's my thoughts. Just do your research. And it depends on where you're going to put your product on. If it's going to be on Amazon, it's going to be a different method. It's going to be on Shopify or Wix or wherever, your own platform. You're more in control of the price in that assets.
Absolutely. I agree. So I follow a similar method to Ashley. I actually spend I use 2 things. One, depending on what it is I'm going to do, because again, if I've used regular retail arbitrage to kind of come up with product ideas, and I go back to my picture library every month to go back and see what pictures did I take of different bundles that I saw, then I will use Amazon all day long to do research because Amazon already has all the data. Amazon will tell you what the rank of different things, and you can see the rank that pretty much gives you an idea of the velocity of how quickly this thing is moving. If it's got a low sales rank, I know that it is going to be flying off the shelves, or it's moving much faster than things that have a much higher sales rank, depending on which category it's in. It's a thing that's specific to Amazon. So I use the data that's on Amazon for whatever the primary or the key product, the main product that's in my bundle. So I have to determine what the main product is. And then from there, from my pricing, so I use tools. I have tools, but I don't use tools. I use Amazon and I use Google and I use Google Trends. Is really using, those are my 3 main tools that I use all day long. And then as far as the pricing, I normally try to go somewhere between 4x to 7x. Depends on, again, how much am I into it for? How much have I estimated? Am I shipping it myself? Am I going to send it into an Amazon warehouse? Because again, if you're going to send it to Amazon, you also got to think about space, because they're going to charge you for storing your inventory at Amazon warehouse. Or am I going to send it to another warehouse that I'm already, maybe already have an account with them? Or I'm going to keep it in my storage unit and drive and go, drop off the packages. So it just depends on what I'm going to do long term with this particular product. While I'm in the testing phases, more than likely I'm shipping it myself, and so then I can manage the cost a whole lot better than if somebody else is going to potentially ship it, because I kind of get it down to as small as I can possibly get it, and then I'll know how much I want to charge for it. So that's what I use. I use Amazon all day long to do product research, to do keyword research, to do what's my main product going to be in my bundle. And then I kind of figure out my costs by doing research of different products everywhere else to figure out how much can I get this product for at the lowest possible price and put it in my bundle.
That was a great question.
That was a great question. All right. So as we get ready, so everybody, we've got another 5-6 minutes to go. So if you had a question, this is your time to type it in the chat. We would love to be able to answer your question. Again, if you have not had a chance to watch today's sessions, Ashley had an awesome session. It is still available until after midnight, so you can go check it out right now. I believe Anika is tomorrow, so you want to plug into her session tomorrow because she had an awesome session as well. And I am on Thursday, so hey, but
Oh,
my yeah. But in any case, type your questions in the chat. We are here to answer your questions, to be able to be a blessing to you on your e-commerce journey and just to help you along the way. So Anika opened up the door for the opportunity to talk about, okay, how do I take my private label product and turn it into white label? So Anika, I'm going to let you have the floor. I want to hear this.
Oh yeah. One of the things I started thinking about, is how can I scale my e-commerce business? How can I go from making 5,000 a month to 10,000 a month? How can I go from 50,000 a year to six figures in less than a year? And one of the things I started doing in e-commerce is turning my product into different sectors. So there are entrepreneurs out there who cannot afford to buy the product in bulk, right? And if I have the money on hand, I could actually buy more inventory. So we actually started offering our products private label. Literally, we just started offering our products private label because people want to sell the things that you have on hand. They are looking for suppliers. So I literally turned my business not just into retail, but also into a wholesale aspect for other entrepreneurs that want to be able to source products. They want a USA supplier. They want faster shipping versus international. So that actually helped me really took my business to another level, offering that option. I already have the product. All I have to do is just put no labels on it. And you're allowed to put your labels on my product and rebrand it and resell it. We do offer some customization for individuals that may want customization. So that's one of the things I actually did to scale my business is started offering private label to other business owners.
All right, I
that's
love
great.
it.
And there's so many opportunities to differentiate. I'm sorry, to create multiple income streams, like you just mentioned, Anika, when you learn the power of private labeling, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's working with other sellers, partnering with other sellers. That's a great way too. You can look at partnering with another seller. Maybe you can go in together on inventory. I've seen people do that. I've seen people, and I know Nicole, you have a business partner as well. I'd love to hear how you partner with your business partner on your products. Let us know what that looks like.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm the one that normally comes up with the private label product, private label ideas, at least the bundles, because she's like, bundling is not her ministry because she's really good at what she does, but she's like, bundling is not my ministry. So for she and I, like, I will come up with the idea and the concept. I'll start the process of doing the research. And then once I come up with the concept, like, she'll test it on some of her accounts. I'll test it on my accounts. It gives us the opportunity to see what's going to work and what's not going to work. And it actually expedites the process because you've got, we're selling on multiple platforms, so we're everywhere. Okay. And once we test it out in the universe and we figure out, okay, this is the one that's going to work, or these are the ones that are going to work, then we have pretty much a 50-50 split because we'll go into the inventory together and everything. But we have a 50-50 split on our partnership. So it makes everything easy. It's clean, but we will test on different platforms, and then we'll get together every week to discuss what were the results. We get together every week. So we have a standing meeting every Sunday at like 8 o'clock at night. I'm trying to remember what the time was. It's 8 o'clock. And we have a standing meeting where we're like, okay, these are the new bundle ideas that I think are going to sell over the next 6 months, 6 weeks, whatever. And we do look at that window of 6 weeks to 20 weeks of this is what we want to do, because we have to have enough time to be able to get the inventory, to be able to create the listings, and to be able get the samples and all that other stuff, and then be able to put the listing up, and then to be able to order on top of that. So we have a little process, a mini process, but it's a 50-50 split.
Partnerships are where it's at. If you can't do it yourself, find those people who don't have maybe the skills or the funds or whatever you lack, and find those people who have what you want, and partnerships can be amazing. So
they can make sure you guys, if you're going to do partnerships, make sure that you do have a written agreement with each other, because partnerships can also kill friendships. Yes. And so me and my business partner, we've been best friends since I was 7 and she was 8. So we have known each other for a while. Based on my gray hair, we've known each other for a very long time. Might as well say we're sisters. But you want to make sure that you do have a written agreement, so that at the end of the day, if anything ever happens, that whole relationship is not destroyed because of a business partnership.
That's true. Get those agreements. More than a handshake, more than a friendship. So it can get risky.
It can get frustrating too. And we just, I had COVID, she had COVID, but I was hospitalized. So then that really tests, like, okay, what is going to happen if I'm no longer here with the business, making sure that she has everything she needs to continue moving on if something were to happen with me, and vice versa. So just make sure it's, set it up so it's legal so that you don't run into those types of potential challenges, because you never know. We don't know what our date is. We do not. We want to get all of Anika's health related products so we can live longer, but we don't know what our date is.
You're absolutely right about those contracts. Get those contracts in place. Learn from our mistakes, okay?
Yeah, we've all made the mistakes, girlfriend. Trust me, we have. That is part of the journey called life. We learn and we okay, we're not going to rinse and repeat on that. But in any case, all right. Well, I am so grateful that the two of you made the time to come and hang out. If you all have questions, you can type them in the thread. I am hoping that Facebook will not touch this post, because we told people to type their questions after the session was over yesterday, and the entire post is gone. So I will, if you do have questions, hopefully this post will stay there. If it won't, then I will re-upload it after Facebook, if it takes it down. And we apologize for that. We're trying to figure out what's going on with Facebook. And if you have any other questions, we want to know about them so we can serve you and support you. Go check out Ashley's session. It is still happening right now. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Anika's session, because she's bringing it. So she's got a lot of gold that she's going to be sharing. And either way you decide to do private label, whether you're going to sell on Amazon or whether you're going to sell on Shopify or any other platform, you should, hopefully you got a couple of golden nuggets tonight that's going to help you on your e-commerce journey. So with that, I will let the ladies close out. Is there any one tip you want to share with them, or one suggestion, one thing you want to share before we say goodbye?
Sure, just take action. I mean, you're looking at three ladies here who are action takers, who are bold, who are entrepreneurs, who don't always do everything perfectly, but the difference is we take action, and we have goals. So if you learn something tonight, I just encourage you to step in and get out there and do it this year. 2022 can be your year. So.
Yes, I love that. My takeaway for tonight would be ask questions. Ask questions. I wish I had somebody like Nicole, Ashley. I wish I had a summit. I wish I had all these resources around me when I started my business to help me from making these pitfalls and mistakes that could cost me a lot of money. So ask questions. Use the resources around you. Nicole is amazing. She's providing a great space for entrepreneurs to come and ask questions. And she bringing amazing speakers on, like Ashley and myself. So definitely reach out. Ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and get all your answers before you jump in and get business done. Because you know what? We make it look easy. We make this we make business look easy, but it's not. It's so much that goes into it. So definitely reach out and ask questions. Get comfortable asking questions. Over to you, Nicole. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I had a great time.
Me too. Thank you, Nicole.
I'm glad that you all joined me tonight. So the one thing I would tell you guys is give yourself some grace and mercy on this journey. The one thing about this e-commerce journey is it is not perfect. There will be hurdles that you will encounter that I have not encountered. There will be hurdles that Ashley encountered that Anika hasn't encountered. And so give yourself grace and mercy. Don't grade your progress and your success off of somebody else, because you don't know how long they worked to get where they are, and how many long hours and late nights and no sleep they were on their journey. So just get up every day trying to improve what you did.
Even when we're stressed, we're still showing up, Nicole.
Even when we're stressed, girl. So don't give yourself some grace and mercy, and make sure that that you know that the only person that you're competing with is yourself every day. You just want to get a little bit better every single day, gradually incremental improvements in your business processes. Try to make sure you're learning something all the time so you can get better incrementally and stay focused and committed to your business. Don't get distracted. There will be 9,000 shiny objects and they will not go away. So just pretend like you don't see them. Put the blinders on. All right. So with that being said, we are going to close it out for now. I hope this information was a blessing to you and your business. I hope you get a chance to continue watching sessions tonight. plug in tomorrow. You will get a brand new watch link. It is not the same link you used today. I encourage you to upgrade to the All Access Pass because these two ladies have awesome bonuses for you. If you upgrade to the All Access Pass, you will not regret it. And we will see you tomorrow night where the topic is business operations and business operations, business success. So we look forward to having that chat tomorrow. Hopefully Facebook will still be friends with us, and we will say goodbye for now. Bye, y'all.
Bye. See you in this e-commerce world.